Good evening and welcome to the T3 Handicapping YouTube channel. I am Chris from T3 Handicapping, and we are here to go over three preps for Saturday, April the 2nd, 2022. We'll be covering the Jeff Ruby Stakes from Turf Paradise. We'll be covering the Florida Derby from Gulfstream Park and the Arkansas Derby, not the Alaskan Derby, the Arkansas Derby from Oaklawn Park. So let's go ahead and let's jump into our breakdown of the races. Now, with this here today, before we begin, you can go ahead and get access to the full sheets. What you're seeing here is obviously just the stakes races themselves, but if you want to go and you want to get access to the full cards, you can do so. It's just $2 per card, or you can buy all three cards together for $5 on our website. You just go to t3handicapping.weebly.com and you'll see it right there in the red box. It's a 4-square, and the top left square is the all-track package, the Derby Prep package, and then each of the individual ones take up the other 3 squares of the 4-square. Off to the right-hand side, where I've got the green box here on the screen, that's where you will actually find access to our software. So you can download our software. Maybe you're playing Aqueduct tomorrow as well. For a one-time purchase of $50, you can use your Brisnet single data file past performances or data files, load them into there. All the instructions are there, and then you can actually produce the T3 algorithms for other tracks that you may be playing that aren't Turfway, Gulfstream, and that other one, Oaklawn Park. And so with that, please feel free to go over to the website, either purchase these full track cards, or like I said, all track package is the best value for your money. And then if you want to play some other tracks as well, or you want to keep using the T3 the algorithms throughout your play at any track that Brisnet has data files for, you can just go ahead and purchase that software as well. So lots of ways to play the T3 picks. Now, one thing that I did want to mention is that there's a lot of ways to follow us. So if you're new to the channel, go ahead, like, and subscribe. That makes sure that when we produce new content, you're able to get it as it happens. So make sure you like and subscribe here on YouTube. You can also follow me on Twitter at HandicappingT3. And we also have a Facebook group, which is T3 Handicapping Horse Racing. So if you go there, I'm posting things daily, different versions of picks that I have available. Most of the time I'm posting those for free on big days. Then they are available for purchase. Now, one of the cool things that we're going to be doing last year, I really fell in love with Indiana Grand, played there a lot, played in a lot of their free contests, and really came to enjoy the track. And it really got me hooked on playing there. It's one of my favorite tracks to play at. I'm wearing my Indiana Grand hat today. It's been rebranded as Horseshoe Indianapolis, so that's what you'll be seeing in the past performances this year. But one thing I did want to let everybody know about is that if you like and follow our Facebook page, starting on April 19th, which is the first day of the Indiana Grand Meet, we are going to do one bet share per day for Indiana Grand. So if you're someone who wants to get involved in pick fives, pick sixes, some of those bigger tickets that maybe you normally don't get to play because you're a smaller bankroll player, or maybe you just want to have people to go along with it, we will be posting a bet share in that Facebook group every day of the Indiana Grand Meet. Once the shares are gone, they are gone. So make sure that you're following that page so that you can get those as they get posted in there. And like I said, we'll do it for every day of the Indiana Grand or Horseshoe Indianapolis Meet. And that's starting again, like I said, on April 19th. So just a handful of weeks out from here. But without further ado, we're not here to talk about Horseshoe Indianapolis tonight. We're here to talk about the Derby Prep races. So let's go ahead and jump into things. And I want to start with the one that seems to be getting forgotten about the most, and that's probably due to a number of factors. Number one, it's on synth. Number two, it's not a very productive Derby Prep. And number three, I just don't think Turfway Park often takes top billing when you have places like Aqueduct, Gulfstream Park, Oaklawn. When they're all running, you've got Turfway that just doesn't take as much action. So the way our numbers rate out on this one is we kind of look here, and this is what you can download. So when you go and purchase the track from our website, you're going to get this. At the very top, there will be a sheet that will take you through all of the picks that we have sorted by A's, B's, and C's for the entire race card. Then, when you come down, each race will get a summary just like this. You can see we're playing on 4-2. This is race number 12 from Turfway. It's a class level 10. If you've never used our product before, this is an inverse rating. So the closer to 0 that the class level is, the better the horses are. So class level 10, this is not a super strong group of horses, but that's slightly adjusted because it is Turfway Park as well. So that has a little something to do with it. We're going 9 furlongs, and of course this is on a synthetic surface, an all-weather surface. My confidence level based on the metrics. So this is not my personal confidence level, but this is what the system reads based on how much data is provided, 76 out of 100. Now, typically, my A selections do best in races that are 73 or higher. So even though this is a lower confidence rating for the races that we'll talk about tonight, it still seems to feel like the numbers should weigh out properly, being above that 73 mark. It does project to be a pretty quick pace, and we have seen a mid-pack run style on the Tapeta for on the synth for route races. If you're looking at the sprints, that will be a V, which is our versatile run style, sort of that stock and pounce trip. But we have a mid-pack sort of bias when it comes to Turfway. A lot of horses coming from out of it. So when I looked at this race, obviously this is subject to change with some scratches. These numbers do recalibrate when scratches come in, but I actually have a big upset coming in this one, and that is I like Black Adder a lot. Now, Black Adder has success on the synth, and you could say the same about Tiz the Bomb. Black Adder comes out of the Golden Gate Fields races. Tiz the Bomb most recently ran at Turfway as well. I think had a race at I think has a couple synth races, if I'm remembering back to the past performances correctly. So with these numbers that came out, it's not surprising that Blackadder, off of that Golden Gate performance, gets the top billing because it's looking mostly at or giving higher preference to other synthetic races. So you can see overall this to me looks like a pretty open race. We don't really have a lot of consistency. Particularly I look at like the top 3, so 2, 6, 7, 5, 11, 12, 3, 1, 7. So that's the first time that we even see the 7 show up in multiple categories. And I could do the same thing going all the way down this list. It's a very wide open race. And so with that, I kind of feel like I want to look at these top 2 because to me, those are the ones that I think have the best chance to win. I know Tiz the Bomb isn't super creative, but I'm hoping that we can get Blackadder home. Now, when we're looking here, you can see that Blackadder did receive the top grade at 100 points. This one grades out as an A+. So the letter grades are A, B, C, and F. And then the plus, minus, and no symbol next to the letter just indicates if I think they're good value, bad value, or about right where they should be. So you can see here, Tiz the Bomb is going to be the favorite, but I have Tiz the Bomb rating out as the second best horse. Therefore, Tiz the Bomb is listed as bad value. Blackadder I have as the best horse and is obviously not the best horse on the odds board and therefore is a good value. So with that being said, I think this race probably goes mostly through 12 and 7, but I do also want to be aware of the 13 who rates out very well and the 9. Now, both of these horses are really long shots, 8-1 and 15-1, and they're both going to be towards the front. With that being said, that makes them interesting to me. I did also have a little bit of interest in Cabo Spirit and Constitutional Lawyer as ones that may get lost in the shuffle. You can see Constitutional Lawyer doesn't grade out very well, but is better value than what it's supposed to be. That 50-1 compared to some of these others that are 20 and 30, I think you can get a little bit better value on that. So when it then comes to this race, I had to start looking at how to put together my exactas trifectas. And when you start looking at your vertical tickets, that's where this T3 grid can really come in handy. A lot of times, if I've got anything clear, like this one's kind of interesting to me with a 3, 13, and 8. The only problem is that doesn't include my top selection, but maybe a 3, 8, 12. That would certainly be somewhat interesting. This just basically takes the top ranked horse from each of these and drops them in here. Um, with my exacta for this race, I think because I feel like it's pretty wide open, I'm going to take the 7-12 and I'm going to take them over the 9 and the 13. And honestly, because that's a pretty small exacta, I'd probably flip it the other way as well, just in case the 9 or the 13 is able to hold on all the way around. And then I've got it over the 7-12. But I'm not going to use. I'm not going to use the 7 in the second spot with the 12. I probably actually would do that here. I don't really need to use. I don't really need to use Tis the Bomb and say, like, for example, Stolen Base, but I don't feel very confident. So I would probably here look to do more of a. I could almost make the case for boxing all four of these because I think you'll get the price on that. I normally hate the box. I think it's lazy, especially when you're dealing with four horses. But in this field, if it stays this size, especially if the 13 comes out due to scratches, now you're talking 7, 9, and 12. That's a $6 on a $1 box, and that's going to be pretty cost effective. So I would say that in the exacta, I'm putting preference on the 7-12, but I'm going to be using probably the 9 and the 13. Now, when it comes to my trifecta, I tried to put together a trifecta that I thought could win, but that could also produce value. So you can see here I went 7-12 with 7, 9, 12, and 13 with 3, 7, 11, and 12. Now, you may look at that and say, well, wait a minute, didn't you drop the 9 and the 13? Did you forget to put them in the last spot? And the answer to that is no. So when I build my trifecta tickets, I take any horse that gets designated with a front runner style, and I put them in either first or second, but I will not put a front runner in third. So, with that being said, I feel that the front runner is either going to mostly hold on and get passed at the last second to take second, or I feel like they're just going to fade so badly they're not going to hit the board. And so you won't see front running types in the third spot of my trifectas. If you were to play this trifecta as is, it would be an $11. When it comes to my horizontal plays, I'm probably going to do something like 7 and 12 on the A line, and then I would do 13, 9, and 3 as all sort of backup type horses in this situation. I'm going to be honest, Turfway Park is one that I don't often play. It's one that I feel moderately confident, but I definitely need to use more horses there than I would at, say, a Gulfstream or an Aqueduct, for example. So that's how I see it. Again, my top pick is going to be the number 12 in an upset. And then after that, I like the 7, Tis the Bomb. And then after that, I think you're largely throwing darts at a board, just the way I see the race. Let's move on now to Oaklawn Park. They have the Arkansas Derby. It goes off as race number 12. Now, remember that the Jeff Ruby Stakes came in as a class level 10. The lower, the better. This is a 4.5. Actually, of the three stakes races, this one came up the most challenging of the three. So this is 9 furlongs on the dirt at Oaklawn, and you can see the confidence here a little bit higher, 83. Things in the 80s tend to be very good. When the formula comes up with an 80 confidence rating or higher, that's when we really start to hone in on our A selections, and they tend to do very well. This is supposed to be a moderately paced race, but even with that, at Oaklawn Park so far, the versatile types, the stalk and pounces, have been the ones that have had the most success. I'm actually going to look a little bit farther back in this. I really like Doppelganger coming into this spot. Obviously, transitioning out of the Baffert barn. That is a very recent transition. So, say what you want about Baffert, love him or hate him. And I know people are split on that. But the reality is that horse just came out of the barn. So, he trains horses up like a storm. As long as Yankee hasn't really had time to change too much, I'm imagining that Doppelganger's probably going to run a pretty darn good race here. Now, there's always the concern that if something's going on and maybe Doppelganger comes in, lays an egg, I can't get that deep into trying to analyze it one way or the other. So I'm going to use Doppelganger. I think on paper, Doppelganger is the best horse in this race. That's the one that I want on my side. And that's the one that I'm going to use most heavily. You can see I have that one as the only A grade in this race based on the numbers. Now, other ones that rated out well, Cyber Knife at 8-1, which I'm really excited about. I know the Oaklawn morning line can be a little bit goofy sometimes, so I'm not convinced I'm going to get 8-1 on that. And then I think Secret Oath makes some sense. I have not been a fan of speed on this track, but I do think that We the People, if you're going to go with a front running type, I think that's the one that you want. So for that, with all of those things in the hopper here, as I'm putting together my tickets, I'm going to be weighting an exacta key box, and I'm going to be using the 4 in every spot. So I'm going to probably most heavily go um, 4 with 6 and 8, and then the inverse, and then I'll probably do a smaller ticket 4 with 9. I'm not as convinced that We the People is going to hold on. Secret Oath is an obvious player. But I also really like Cyber Knife, and I'm because I like that one, even though the price discrepancy may dictate that I could weight that one less. I'm actually going to weight it similarly to Secret Oath, and if I hit, then I can hit that one for a lot more. So I'll be cheering for Cyberknife to come in second. Um, First would be fine too, but I'm going to have less on the 8-4 than I would on, say, the 4-8. So that's how I'm going to play that one. Similar style with the trifecta here. I'm going to go 4, 6, and 8 on top. I think those are the 3 most likely winners. Then I'm going to go 4, 6, 8, and 9. Now, there again, you're seeing best of speed, holding on for second place, but getting past. If We the People can't hold on for second, I'm watching that thing run to the back. 4, 6, 8, and then I'm adding Un Oho, who ran very well over this distance already in the Rebel. And then Ben Diesel as well, who projects to get the best of race flow. I don't think Ben Diesel is going to be good enough to beat these runners. I don't think Ben Diesel is going to be able to pass the runners that are going to be at the top. But I do think this one's a legitimate player to come in underneath and to make a play. Now, when it comes to my horizontal plays, I feel like a lot of people are going to play Secret Oath, the filly, against the boys. There's been a lot of talk about how good this horse is and comparing it to the great female horses of yesteryear. I think this horse is talented for sure, but I think the price is going to be really short. I think it's going to be over bet. And so when I go to play my horizontals, I'm actually going to try and toss Secret Oath, and I'm going to stick with just Doppelganger and Cyber Knife. In all honesty, I think Doppelganger's the one. But if Cyber Knife wins and I don't have it, I'm going to be pretty mad when I had the horse pick second as a good play, undervalued, um, and as the second choice at 8-1. I got to use that one. You will notice Secret Oath here is showing as a bad value play. And I typically try, especially in the horizontals, to toss those horses out because I think it allows for me to make a little extra money. And at Oaklawn, I feel like I have a little better idea than I would at, say, a Turfway, where I might be more inclined to keep a negative horse in just because I don't necessarily feel like I calibrate quite as well there. Our last race here is is a 5.5, so about a point higher than the one at Oaklawn, based on the way it came out. It's 9 furlongs on the dirt. Um, Now, I will say this whole system was actually built starting at Gulfstream. That was the first track where I started doing all of this work by hand, and so I feel for the most part pretty good in terms of my calibration at Gulfstream. It's not always perfect. Gulfstream can be quirky and weird and have goofy outcomes. Certainly, the addition of all weather has really changed some things. But overall, I tend to have a higher level of confidence when it comes to races at Gulfstream. This is going to be a moderate pace. And the horse that came out as the top horse here is not a horse that I would love if there was a lot of confirmed, like, heavy speed in this race. There flat out isn't. And because of that, I've got Classic Causeway as the winner. Now, the last buyer was terrible. My hope is that people are going to be so put off by that last buyer that they're going to overlook this one, and I'm going to get massive odds. I think there's great value, especially on the Gulfstream dirt, to being drawn inside and being a horse that likes to just run. And that's what Classic Causeway likes to do. Classic Causeway is a front runner. Now, probably going to get some pace challenges, but if you look here at our early pace numbers, okay, Classic Causeway is going to be at about a 127 on our pace. The other one that I think wants to go to the front is going to be Charge It, who's going to be quite a bit uh, slower when it comes to that. Now, with that, then you come up here and you look at the race flow. Classic Causeway is supposed to have the most left in the tank at the end, and we can't find Charge It with a flashlight. So, with that being said, I really like Classic Causeway to be aggressively handled, to get out on the front, and to try and run away. And I'm hopeful that because of the 80, I think it was like an 88 buyer, that people are going to be looking at this one and saying, well, this one can't win. This one's been running against nothing at Tampa. That may be true. And if that is true, I want to make sure that I have simplification as well as a part of my ticket, because I do think that that is an interesting horse as well, and certainly one that will be a major player. Now, does get an A minus because it is the favorite, and I have it as the second choice. So technically, that horse is overvalued based on the metrics here. A couple others that I do find interesting: Papa Cap and White Abario. I hear White Abario has just been training up a storm down in Florida. I think it's dangerous to leave that off. You'll see that I did leave it off in my horizontal plays here. I don't like to usually include a fourth horse that is considered bad value, but it's one that I think has to be respected based on the workouts I've been hearing about. The other one I'm kind of interested in, and maybe this is my best chance to produce value in this race, is Papa Cap. Now, Papa Cap is supposed to be a mid-packer, which is not good at Gulfstream typically. On Friday, we did see a couple horses though make some good moves in the sort of far turn and be able to get up and win on the dirt course. Now, the other thing that I think is interesting with Papa Cap is there is a scenario in which Papa Cap is a lot closer to the front than what we would typically expect of a mid packer. So those are all horses that I have interest in. For my exacta, I'm going to be rolling 2, 3, and probably the 7 over the 5. And then I'm also going to use Cajun's Magic, who is an F plus horse for me. Now, I don't like to use the F plus horses on top, but I do love to use them underneath. I don't think Papa Cap's going to win. I don't think Cajun Magic is going to win. I do think that it's coming down to Classic Causeway and probably simplification, maybe White Abario if you believe the workouts. If the horse looks good on track, I'll probably play it the exact way I have it here. If he looks suspect on track, I may flip this one down. So it's 2-3 over 5-8. I would put the 7 down here, but unfortunately, I don't think a 2-3 with 7 is going to pay all that much because of the short prices. So I'm going to pair short price horses with long price horses, and I will probably, for the purposes of this exacta, I'm probably going to keep it pretty much just as is. Not going to box it the other way. Just keep it straight up this way. My trifecta, which is only going to cost me $8, I'm just going to go with my top two. I'm going to go Classic Causeway and Simplification, and then I'm going to put over some bombs. So I'm going to put it over Papa Cap and put it over Cajun's Magic. So now I've got 10 to 1 and 30 to 1 in the second position. And then I'm going to come down to the next spot and I'm going to re-put in the 2, the 3. I'm going to use the 5 Papa Cap. I'll use the 6 Charge It. Now that is a front runner that could be fading. But I think this one has the potential to just be in behind and just to kind of chase up into that third spot. I don't really think Charge It's going to be on the lead coming for home, which would typically disqualify it from this third spot. White Abario I have in that third position, and then Cajun's Magic as well. So in theory, my best situation is that it goes Classic Causeway, Papa Cap, Cajun's Magic, and then this try is going to pay out the wazoo. That's only an $8 ticket as it stands, and that's part of also why I did include Charge It in the third spot, is I'm pretty much getting value anyway because the ticket only costs $8 on 50 cents. When it comes to my horizontal plays, I'm going to be really heavily through the 2 and the 3. Again, the 2 Classic Causeway is my top selection. Simplification will be my second choice and will be included in my horizontals, but I would put a little bit in for pop a cap, probably single it on a backup ticket using a conditional structure, and go about things that way. So that's how I see the 3 Derby preps. Again, if you enjoy this video or you like the insights, make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel. And then remember, like and follow us on Facebook. That way you can get access to all of our free picks during the week. And when we start up at Horseshoe Indianapolis in later this month, you will be able to get first access. Actually, that's the only access you will have to those bet share tickets once a day during the Horseshoe Indiana meet. So, with that, good luck on all of your plays, whether it be from these 3 tracks or anywhere else around the country. Don't forget that you can purchase all of the races for all of these cards on our website, t3handicapping.weebly.com. And of course, as always, cash those tickets.